With our unified port set and our vSANs configured, we're now ready to create fiber channel uplinks to the rest of the network. Now, there's a reason why we had to configure the vSANs first, and we're going to see that as we explore the configuration. So here we are in UCS Manager once again, and we want to find ourselves in the SAN tab, and we can expand the SAN cloud and take a look at, let's start with Fabric A. And if we look at the uplink fiber channel interfaces, we're going to see all of the fiber channel interfaces that we've enabled via the unified ports, and as well as the ones that we've placed into uplink mode, which should be the default setting. Now, either way, we can click on one of these interfaces, and one of the first things we see is that we need to specify which vSAN this interface belongs to. See, in fiber channel, there's a very important concept that when you have a switch and we have all of these interfaces on there, that these interfaces, when we look at the vSAN database that is inside the fiber channel switch, we have like a vSAN 10 and a vSAN 20 interface or entry, let's say, and we tie these interfaces directly into these configurations. And so, yeah, these interfaces might belong in vSAN 10 and these might belong in vSAN 20, but if we took one of these links and connected it to another switch and said, okay, well, this is now a TE interface because we're carrying vSANs 10 and 20 across the link. And as soon as we have multiple vSANs, it becomes a TE interface. But the fact that it's carrying two vSANs doesn't have anything to do with which vSAN these interfaces belong with. And so when we look at it from that perspective, this vSAN has to be the same on both sides, which means I have to configure vSAN 20 on the database on the right, and I have to place that interface into vSAN 20. If these two vSANs don't match on both ends of the link, this link will not come up. It will stay in a shutdown state, and we obviously don't want that. But the two key pieces of information here. One, we have to place the interface into a vSAN, a specific vSAN. And number two, all of the other vSANs are enabled on the link. And so we don't have to worry about whether we're enabling specific vSANs or not. And in fact, that vSAN, again, vSAN 20, it doesn't even have to be one of the vSANs we're using. We could make that vSAN 99, and so we never use vSAN 99 other than to bring connections online. In fact, let's do that. Let's say that in our environment, we're going to use vSAN 10 on Fabric A and vSAN 20 on Fabric B, which we've already configured here as well. And so we're going to create a vSAN that we're not going to use. We're going to call this vSAN 99. And typically, we're not going to deploy this on both fabrics. In this case, since we're not actually using vSAN 99, it doesn't really matter. And so we're going to make this, maybe we'll make this, we can't go to 4099, that exceeds our values. We could say 3899. Let's do that and say OK. And now we have this vSAN 99 on both fabrics. And so when we come back to our interface and say, all right, we're going to place this into vSAN 99, vSAN 10 is still being carried across this. And so we just need to make sure that vSAN 99 is enabled on the upstream fiber channel switch as well. Now, UCS does support fiber channel port channels. And so we'll take a look at this next. And we can come here and we can create a fiber channel port channel. We'll call this ID of 10 since we're on Fabric A and planning to run vSAN 10 across it. And we can take ports 1 and 2, we'll say, put it into the port channel and hit finish. And yep, I'll acknowledge that. We're running in UCS, the platform emulator, and so we get some random errors as far as, this and that isn't going to necessarily work because we don't have a physical environment, and that's okay. So when we come to the port channel, we do want to make sure that the vSAN is also selected here because this, the port channel itself also has to belong to one of the vSANs in the database. And so we make sure that we select that here, hit Save Changes, and say OK. And that's it. We want to repeat this for Fabric B, but otherwise we have configured our uplinks and placed them into a port channel. Every fiber channel interface, whether it's an individual uplink or a port channel, must belong to a vSAN. And remember, that vSAN has to match on both sides of the link, otherwise it will not come up. So you have to make sure that the UCS configuration matches the upstream fiber channel switch. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.